Have you ever had this feeling that something about you isn't normal, and deep down you know it's not a bad thing, it's just different in a way you can't explain? Like you're surrounded by people, conversations, laughter, noise, but none of it feels real to you. Like everyone else is inside the moment and you're outside of it, watching, analyzing, seeing things no one reacts to. And at some point you stopped asking, "What's wrong with me?" and started asking a much more dangerous question. What if I'm not the problem? What if I see something they don't? What if I told you the reason you feel different is because you stopped lying to yourself the way most people do? Most people don't want truth, they want comfort. So they ignore things, they simplify things, they distract themselves. But you notice, and once you notice, you can't unsee it. This is where everything changes, because the more you see, the harder it becomes to connect. You start noticing the cracks, the fake reactions, the forced energy, the subtle manipulation in conversations, the way people change depending on who they're around, the way words don't match actions. And suddenly you realize something most people never do. Most interactions aren't real, they're performance. And while everyone else is playing the role without thinking, you're standing there seeing the script. And that ruins it, because once you see the script, you can't pretend the scene is real anymore. And that changes you. You stop reacting the same way. You stop trusting words. You stop believing what people say at face value. You start watching patterns instead. Not what they promise, but what they repeat. Not how they act when it's easy, but who they become when it's not. Psychology calls this pattern recognition, but it doesn't feel like intelligence. It feels like losing your innocence. Because once you understand patterns, you start predicting people. And when you can predict people, they stop surprising you. And when they stop surprising you, they stop exciting you. And that's when the distance begins. Not suddenly, not dramatically, slowly, quietly. You respond less, you share less, you pull back without announcing it, and people notice. They say you changed. They say you became cold, distant, hard to read. But what actually happened is simpler. You stopped pretending. You stopped pretending shallow conversations matter. You stopped pretending forced connections mean something. You stopped pretending everyone deserves access to you. And once you stop pretending, most interactions start to feel empty. And here's the part no one wants to admit. You don't just see through people. You see through yourself too. You notice your own patterns, your own contradictions, your own emotional reactions. You question everything, why you feel something, why you react a certain way, why you think the way you do. And that creates a level of awareness that's hard to live with because you can't escape it. Most people distract themselves from who they are. You don't have that option anymore. And that's why your mind never shuts off. You replay things, you analyze things, you go over conversations long after they end. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is trying to understand something deeper than what was said. Neuroscience shows that some people process more information in social situations, more tone, more context, more meaning. But what they don't tell you is what that actually feels like. It feels like being surrounded by noise while searching for something real. And eventually you get tired, tired of the noise, tired of the repetition, tired of pretending you don't see what you clearly see. So you start choosing silence. Not because you hate people, but because silence is honest. Silence doesn't fake emotions. Silence doesn't manipulate. Silence doesn't require you to filter yourself. And in that silence, you finally feel something close to peace. But here's the trade-off. The more you choose peace, the more you distance yourself from people who live in chaos. And the more distance you create, the harder it becomes to find someone who actually matches you. Because most people don't want depth. They want comfort. They want easy conversations, predictable emotions, simple reality. And when they meet someone like you, someone who sees through things, it makes them uncomfortable. So they label you too quiet, too serious, too intense, too different. But what they're really reacting to is the fact that you don't play the same game. And here's the part most people will never say out loud. You start realizing that connection isn't about finding more people. It's about finding rare people. People who don't perform, people who don't manipulate, people who don't hide behind masks. And those people are rare. So your circle gets smaller, not because you're losing people, but because you're filtering them. And yes, that feels isolating, but it's also where everything shifts. Because you stop chasing connection, you start evaluating it. You stop asking, how do I fit in? And start asking, who actually deserves access to me? That's not ego, that's awareness. And yes, your life gets quieter. Yes, your world gets smaller. But it also becomes real because you're no longer surrounded by noise. You're surrounded by truth, even if that truth is uncomfortable. And if you've been listening to this, recognizing yourself, feeling like this explains something you've never been able to put into words, then understand this. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're not too much. You just stopped accepting things at face value. You started seeing what's underneath, and most people never do. That's why they fit in, and that's why you don't. And if you're honest with yourself, you don't actually want to go back. Because once you see how things really work, you can't unsee it. And that is what makes you different.